Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky.
Good morning.
I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky.
You are too.
We're talking about being triggered.
Fire me up.
Now, Jason and I both have had friends in our spheres in the last 2-3 days, ever since the election was announced, that are either, Jason went outside. We literally have a neighbor that's like, it's a good day for America.
That's right. God bless this country.
And then I had virtual coffee with one of my dearest friends, and she is literally...
This is the darkest time in America.
She's beside herself in tears.
Like hysterical.
And it has really evoked emotion in people. You turn on one news station and they're talking about fear and how we need to put gutter stoppers.
Yeah. And then there's blame and shame and all these things that are just kind of being vomited on everyone, that if this is what we've allowed to happen, then we are doomed.
Yeah. No, literally, there's the Governor Newsom in California is actually trying to Trump-proof the laws. And that's what they're calling it. And I'm like, okay, come on, people. We are on such extremes. We're all on the same team. And what triggers you is really a signal of what's going on in your own soul.
So big. So big. It goes back to that whole saying, if you spot it, you got it.
If you spot it, you got it. And so it's important. We're not talking about politics today. So if that's what you tuned in to hear, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is communicating with your soul and understanding what your emotions are telling you. Because sometimes we have these feelings, we feel the energy inside us, and we don't know how to translate that, and we automatically translate it into the stories and the narrative that we have either learned or that we hear from other people.
Yeah, and a lot of times we feed the feeling. So it can be a totally negative emotion, negative feeling, and we feed that by creating additional narratives to that fear, doubt, uncertainty, and all the things, when really life is, in general, is beautiful and wonderful and great.
What Jason is saying is, if you listen to any of our podcasts, you realize there's 3 things. There's thoughts, feelings, and actions. Now, ideally, we like to say the thought creates the feeling creates the action. Sometimes we have feelings, and then it's a circular process. And so sometimes when we start with the feeling, then that can either create the thought or create the action.
Yeah, and all that leads into that new action, which if you're acting in the fear, if you're acting in the confusion and the chaos and the blame and shame, you're going to create literally what you're fearing, shaming, or feeling guilty about.
Okay, I'm not sure that made sense to anyone, but I followed you on that.
Well, it's the whole thing about how you show up. It determines and when you show up physically, mentally, and emotionally in a better space, that space where you're feeling lucky and you have swagger, nothing's going to go wrong, you're going to create those better results. If you're triggered by something and you're like, oh, I'm going to totally reject that and plant my feet here, then we have to look at, okay, well, how right do I think I am? Like,
that's such a good question.
If I think I'm 100% right and I'm firmly rooted, because I know I get this way.
If you find yourself being stubborn and full of...
It's the proving ground.
Yes.
You plant your feet and you say, this is where I'm planting my flag. Now, we don't do that physically, but we do that in different variations and different amounts in just a casual conversation that says, this is where I'm planting my feet. This is what I believe. This is what I think. And this is how I feel.
And everyone else is wrong.
Yeah. So I think I'm 100% right on this, and in my mind, I'm going, you're 100% wrong. like subconsciously. So I'm trying to prove my positioning. And what I don't realize is maybe you are 100% right also from your perspective, understanding, and feeling of the world, like your thoughts, feelings, and actions as well. So if I can just start leaning in and saying, how might we be closer in the overall aspect of this, like in agreement, instead of I'm 100% right. What if we're both right and we start picking the best parts of that rightness together out of it? That's an understanding bridge.
There's a tool in life coaching that we often use, and it is rearranging the sentence. So when people start talking in absolutes, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everybody is against this. We've got complete divisiveness in the one, like the whole nation is divided.
So let's just throw out a random example. If somebody says they are going to cause chaos,
and really what I'm saying is everyone other than me is causing chaos. I'm trying to create calm.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
However, if you really start rearranging this sentence, when you use words like they are causing chaos, switch the sentence around. I am causing chaos. I am causing chaos, just like Jason said. When you switch it around, they are causing chaos on me. Then you switch it around. I am causing chaos on them. And then you take it even one step further. And the third step to that is to replace both pronoun with I. I am causing chaos on myself.
So big.
Does that make sense? Now you can do that with any limiting belief. If you just start changing the sentence around, it opens your awareness. That's what it does. It literally opens up the possibility that I might not be as right as I think I am.
Well, it goes back to however many years ago, Marcus Aurelius saying, if something offends you, if there's something that really just irks your patoot in the world, it's not the thing that's troubling you. It's something within you.
It's the way you're reacting to it.
It's your thoughts and your feelings about that thing.
And it usually goes back to something in your past. It usually goes back to an experience that you had or an interaction with someone. And deep in your psyche, you have created a story. You have created a narrative around this.
And it's a victimizing narrative. It's not an empowering narrative. So we have to ask ourselves, what's the story that I'm telling about this? And is that 100% true?
Yes.
And if it's not 100% true, what else might be true? Because there's multiple truths.
There's so many truths.
Are you
It's
choosing
about
the
changing our
empowering
perspective.
truth, or are you choosing the disempowering truth?
Oh, this is so good.
And that's where, when you have a trigger, you can look at it and say, what am I feeling and what am I thinking about this? Is that true? Is it true 100% of the time? Because like a friend the other day said, our nation is so divided. Well, that's completely untrue. Well, it's not completely untrue.
Well, we're all on the same team.
There's a division. We are all on the same team, but there's unity on one side, there's unity on the other side. So when you say we're all divided, who's divided? So it's a world of gray. And it's saying, okay, I choose to live in the light.
So what Jason's trying to say is we started this podcast with the examples of the election and how our neighbor is like, it's a good time for America.
For America.
And then my coffee date was literally in tears. Now, we all experience the same thing.
The same circumstance.
We all experience the same circumstance. It's about how
it's the story you're telling yourself.
You are perceiving this.
Yes.
It is about how you see the world. And here's a little tip for everyone. We can change our perception. We can change the way we perceive the world by opening our awareness.
Yeah. And just having an open mind and an open heart.
Because what we're doing is we're causing
our own inner chaos.
Our inner chaos
Yes.
for ourselves. That's what we're doing. I am creating chaos for myself.
I wasn't planning on being like the quote guy today, but Wayne Dyer.
Bring it out. We've got Marcus Aurelius. We've got Wayne Dyer.
Now Wayne Dyer says when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
And that's brilliant.
And
I really think that's
didn't really hit me until it hit me. And when you look at if you go back and listen to this again and you say, how might I change the way I look at things, you will realize that you get to create the world that you really want internally, which your internal
power is within.
Yeah. And
we create our reality.
Yes.
And we do that by our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. So if for some reason this election has caused or stirred some type of feeling within you, I mean, if it's a good feeling, go with it, live into it, experience it, celebrate it. That's the vibration, the frequency that we want to live in. If it's a not so good feeling, start asking yourself some questions. And the better questions you ask, the better path and possibility you're going to find.
Yeah, if you ask yourself disempowering questions, you're going to be more disempowered. If you ask yourself the more empowering questions, you will be empowered and you will see the path forward. And
find out what is causing this narrative in my own subconscious that is causing such deep-seated emotions
and dis-ease. So if you get triggered, before you fire, examine it. Examine the trigger, not the circumstance. So examine those thoughts and feelings that you're having, and then what is a more empowering truth?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I hope this helps someone. I know that sometimes we get on our tangents and we start throwing out the whole recipe of the whole world, and sometimes we don't get focused enough, but I hope this helps someone. If you feel a trigger inside, your feelings, it's a chain reaction. Your feelings will cause your reality.
Yeah, and if you're having triggers and you're not able to work through them, give us a shout. Shoot me an email at jason@livinglucky.com or just reach out to us on the website.
Thanks for joining us.
Keep
Bye-bye.
living lucky.
If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.